Hi friends, this is Lady Flora, and this video is part of a collaboration with Just So Trish and her Virtual Homeschool Co-op, or I think this is a Virtual Homeschool Collab. Both of those things are true. And this is part of a big playlist that she's putting together, so check out all the other videos on the playlist because they're going to be awesome. So I have two kids. I have a 5-year-old Songbird, and she loves to read and draw, and I also have a 2-year-old man cub, and we have not started homeschooling him yet because he's 2. We do a lot of videos on curriculum reviews, and we also do day in the life videos and things like that. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you can subscribe. So my husband and I both had some unique experiences with education when we were growing up. We were both in various private schools and Christian schools and non-Christian schools and public schools, and then he was in a gifted program, and then later I was in a magnet arts program, but neither one of us were homeschooled. But those experiences really opened up our mind to the possibility of what education could be. Our first reason for wanting to homeschool our kids is the personalized education. When you're teaching your kids at home, you can be so creative. There are so many options available to you, different types of curriculum, different types of ways of teaching your child. There's Waldorf, there's Charlotte Mason, there's classical education, and then there's just regular, just buy a curriculum. Like, you can even just buy workbooks at Walmart or the dollar store or something like that. You can set your own pace. You can set your child's own pace. You can be in touch with what their interests are, and you can emphasize their strengths and focus more attention on their weaknesses. And schools don't necessarily allow you to do that. In schools, you're just sort of expected to keep up with everybody else and follow some kind of standard, and your child might be beyond that standard, or they might be not at that standard yet, and both of those things are okay. When you're personalizing your child's education at home, you can set the environment, and the environment at home is a loving environment. Just like Serena says on her channel, moms make the best teachers. I agree, parents make the best teachers, because nobody loves your child more than you do, and they're not going to get that same experience in a school, whether it's a public school or a private school. You're getting somebody who is paid to be there, and they might love kids and they might love teaching and education, but they don't have that same sort of understanding of your child, and they don't have that connection with your child that you do. The second reason that we decided to homeschool is because at home you can emphasize the values that are important to you. And our values are art, music, literature, nature, and God. And in a school, those things are not the priority. Another reason that we decided to homeschool is because we want to teach a love of learning. I love learning, and I'm still excited about learning, and I love just researching things online on a whim, just because I'm interested in it, just because I happen to get a spark in my imagination and I'm curious about something. And that, I think, is something that I want to pass down to my kids, so that they will realize that learning is something that happens your entire life, and learning is exciting, and learning is interesting, and it's fun. I think it's also important to recognize your child's learning style and help them to embrace it, whether they're kinesthetic or whether they're visual or whether they're auditory or whatever. There's lots of different learning styles, and I think it's important to just embrace it, whatever it is. And that's also something that you're not going to find in a school environment. Everyone kind of needs to just learn the way everyone else is learning. I also think it's important to teach things like how to take notes and how to learn independently and how to manage your time when you're researching something. Another reason we decided to homeschool our children is because we want to know our children. It feels very sad to me to imagine sending them away somewhere where somebody else will teach them, and they will be making connections with that person when they could be making connections with me or with their dad or even with their grandma. I think that is so important, to just know your children, to just understand who they are and to have that experience together, like you learned together, because homeschooling really is for the parent too. The parent is learning as they're teaching their child. So it's kind of something that you work through together, you struggle through together, and I think it's very important to give your children that time, the time that you can give them, because they grow up so fast. And our fifth reason for homeschooling our children is to protect their confidence. When you're in a class and you're being judged by the standard of everyone else, you start to get this feeling that you're bad at some subjects and you're good at other subjects. And then you start to view yourself differently. My 5-year-old thinks that she can do anything. She thinks that she can build a building. She thinks that she can go to Iceland. She thinks that she can write a story and make a movie, and she can. And I want her to keep thinking those things. My experience in school was that I felt very boxed in, and I felt like I was very limited in what I could do. And I don't want my children to know that. I want them to believe, even if it might seem foolish to others, I want them to believe that they can do anything. Because with God, all things are possible. Let's talk about bullies for a second here. So a lot of people say that when you go to school and you get bullied, that it's somehow good for you, that it's preparing you for adulthood. I was bullied a little bit in school, and if an adult treated me the way those bullies treated me, that would be harassment, or that would be a toxic relationship. I don't want to teach my child that if you're being bullied, you just need to put up with it. Because what does that teach them later in life? When they're in toxic relationships, do they need to just put up with it? When they're in a harassment situation, do they need to just put up with it? That's not what I want them to learn. I want them to learn to remove themselves from bad situations, to stand up for themselves, and to value themselves. And I want them to know that I value them enough to remove them from a dangerous situation. Anyways, I could go on and on. This subject is very near and dear to my heart, and I can get very passionate about it sometimes. So thank you again, Trish, for opening this door and letting us share our feelings about this really important subject. And now I want to hear what you have to say. So like, share, subscribe, and comment away. And after you do that, go outside and have a sublime day.